Well, a man condemned by both parties at different times during the election campaign is apparently sticking around. President Trump asking FBI Director James Comey to remain in his role. The announcement surprising a lot of folks who thought he'd be asked to resign for his on-again, off-again handling of the investigation in Hillary Clinton's email server. Here now, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst. Colonel Peters, great to see you. So what do you think? Does he deserve to stay on?
Well, whether or not he deserves to stay on, the president, for his own reasons, has decided to keep him on. Now, we have to remember, David, that in a sense, the FBI director has tenure. It's a 10-year term, and that's to take him out of the political cycle. And normally, I believe Comey would be up in 2023. So it's really not unusual to have this overlap. But the other side of the story is, as we all know, James Comey had a very, very bad year in 2016. He started that year with almost universal respect, ended it in the doghouse on both sides of the aisle. He's weakened. And for whatever reason, President Trump may calculate that having a weakened FBI director for the transition period and beyond may be to his advantage. We'll see. That's interesting.
And sometimes that has happened when a president feels the FBI maybe has overstepped its power. Let's move on to another subject, because this is something that's really getting under my skin. Former President Obama's parting shot. It's the Obama administration quietly releasing $221 million to the Palestinian Authority, defying two Republican lawmakers who had already placed a hold on the funds. The reason, Colonel, this gets under my skin, I know how the Palestinian Authority has stolen money in the past, how they've used it for their own enrichment at various times. You go to certain Palestinian areas in the Middle East, you can always tell the Palestinian Authority, or back then the PLO, their houses, because they were the grand, most ostentatious houses, because they managed to get all the money. That's where a lot of this money is going, right?
Yeah, indeed. And I think this told you a lot about the difference between President Obama and President Trump, in the sense that Obama is a hardline ideologue and a rhetorician. Trump is a practical man who wants to get things done. So President Obama always idealized the Palestinians, and so that's part of it. Ideologically, he was always farther left than people realized. Beyond that, though, it was a last slap at Netanyahu. It was a slap at incoming president, now President Trump, because of his brooding about the possibility of moving our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And also, it was to please Obama's hard left base as he leaves, as part of his legacy. But ultimately, though, it was a nasty, really rotten thing to do.
Well, Colonel, you know the intel community quite well inside the Beltway. There is no way, I would think, that the President of the United States, with access to everything the intel community has on the Palestinian Authority and how they abscond with funds and steal money left and right, there's no way he wouldn't know that that money would be badly spent, no?
Well, you know, I think the greatest phrase that I've heard in many months was alternative facts. But it doesn't apply to just one party. And throughout his presidency, whether it was to do with Iraq, Islamist terror, the rise of ISIS, Afghanistan, Libya, President Obama also seemed to live in a world of alternative facts much of the time. And so, again, I go back to it. He was a much harder left ideologue than people realized. And when reality, when the corruption, the brutality, the terrorism of the Palestinian Authority, and certainly Hamas, stared him in the face, he closed his eyes.
It's amazing. Amazing how smart people can make those mistakes. Colonel Ralph Peters, thank you very much, sir. Good to see you.